Okay? So differentiation, right? So differentiation is what? Suppose one function is given like this, y equal to fx, right? This is a function.
Yes, sir.
So if you're telling that find differentiation of it, right? So we'll be writing like dy by dx, right? Means when x changes, right? When x changes, then how y will change, right? It means rate of change of y with respect to x,
Yes, sir.
right? To x. Yeah. So when x changes, how much y will change? This is known as differentiation. So the main meaning of differentiation is this gives slope actually, slope of a curve. Okay, we'll study these things once we do your application of derivatives. Okay, so dy by dx is nothing but differentiation, differentiation of y with respect to x, or sometimes they can also give rate of change of y with respect to x. Okay? This is also known as, right? This can also be denoted as, sometimes dy by dx is not given in the questions, they give y dash. Okay. So this y dash means rate of change. Y dash is nothing but dy by dx. Okay. So there are certain formulas we have to always remember. We have to always understand like how they are being used. So first and foremost formula is, right, y equal to x to the power n. So what will be its dy by dx? Its dy by dx will be x to the power n, right? This n into x, right, and n minus 1. This is the base of all the differentiation. Okay. This much I think you are clear.
Okay.
Now, let's assume I am writing here y equal to x to the power 3. So what will be dy by dx for this? So suppose very
3x square.
so it will be 3. In place of n put 3, x and 3 minus 1. It will be 3x square. Okay. Second, now I will directly go to chain rule. Okay. I'm
Yes, sir.
teaching you in such a way that you will understand the foundation first. I'm not going to sine formula, cos formula, tan formulas. Okay? So y equal to x to power this. Right? Suppose it is written y equal to x. What will be its dy by dx?
X into uh,
X to power 1. It is 1
1
and then x to the power 1 minus.
is
You put it like this. No, this is in x to power n. X to the power n dy by dx is how much? Nx. For this, if you find dy by dx will be nx to the power n minus 1. Okay?
yes,
So now I'm differentiating this. I'm differentiating this. So 1 x to the power
minus
1 minus 1, right? Which is nothing but 1 into x to the power 0. x to the power 0 is 1, right? So 1
Yes,
into
sir.
1 equal to 1. That's the reason these three things we should remember. This is very important. So if y equal to x, so dy by dx is how much? 1.
One.
How 1 came? Because here power is 1.
One.
And if you're finding dy by dx for this, now tell,
Uh,
put this
one.
formula n minus. Give me a minute. Ah, ah, thank you. 1 minute, sorry. Sorry, someone came.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I was discussing about this x to the power 1. How it came? Here 1 is n. So simply in place of n put n 1, right, into x, right? N is 1 minus 1, right? This is nothing but 1 into x power 0, and anything raised to power 0 is 1. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So 1 into 1 is 1. So now we are building foundation, right? What did we know? If y equal to x to the power n, then dy by dx, tell my son,
In X to the power n.
n minus 1, right? Second, if y equal to x, dy by dx is
One.
1. Third thing, right? Y equal to x to power 9, then dy by dx is equal to,
9x power 8.
yes. Now I'm going to chain rule. Okay?
Yes.
Very important topic. Second topic is the chain rule. So differentiation of simple terms are easy. Okay? So basically, if the question is like this, 2x plus 1 and something is coming here. Okay? Chain means there is a inside and outside. Right?
Yes, sir.
Inside function and outside functions are there. So what we have to do, right? We have to apply the similar rule, simple rule, right? So take this as x to the power 3. Right? Now this is 3 x square, right? Into this much, right? D by dx of x. I'll go slowly. Now this one. If we want to find dy by dx for this, how we have to do? It is like 3, right? Then 2x plus 1, 3 minus 1. Okay. But this is also a function. What will come? Then differentiation of this with respect to x. D of dx of inside term. This is inside. Okay. It will be 2x dy by d by dx plus this much will come. Now this is easily differentiated already. We are just simplifying it into. Now each term will be differentiated. We will find d by dx of 2x. D by dx of 2x plus d by dx of 1. Now I have not taught you what is the differentiation of 1. Right? So 1 is
Zero.
constant. It is constant. This one is constant. Now this will be as it is, right? Then d by dx of 2x. So 2 is constant, it will come out. Then d by dx of x. Right? D by dx of 1 is 0. So differentiation of constant is 0. Okay? And you can write it as it is. 3 2x plus 1 whole square. Okay? So in the next line, answer will come. Now this much is already solved. Okay? Now I need to solve it. This one. This is constant. Okay? D by dx of x is how much? Just now we
One.
solved y equal to x. So either you can write dy by dx or d by dx of x.
So 1.
Yeah, 1. So it will be 1. 3 2x plus 1 whole square into 2 into 1. Now answer came 3 into 2, 6.
Yes, sir.
2x plus 1 whole square. Okay. Getting clear little?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We'll solve a lot of questions so that it will be, you will get thorough. Okay. So right now what did we learn? Suppose y equal to k, right? Or y equal to 1 or y equal to any constant, right? Or y equal to b. See, what we have to find? We have to find rate of change of y with respect to x. There is no x.
Yes, sir.
So dy by dx, this is constant. There is no x. It is k. So it will be 0. Here also, if you are going to find dy, rate of change of y with respect to x, there is no x.
Yes, sir.
So if you are changing x, y won't change. Correct? Because right side there is no x. There is no x. It will be 0. So here also right side there is no x. So dy by dx will be 0. Here dy by dx. Can we find rate of change of, the rate of change of y with respect to x? No. It will be 0. Means y will change only if k changes. Y will change only if k changes. But if x changes, y won't change. The meaning of this is, wow, what is the meaning of like differentiation of constant is 0 means, even though if you are, see the quantity here is y and k, So y is dependent on k. Y is not dependent on x. Correct? But in your exam or in competitive exams, they give it like this: y equal to k. Right? And now the question will come: find dy by dk. So can we write 0 now?
No,
So how much it will come?
1.
1. Right? Now y equal to z. Right? How much will be dy by dx?
0.
And how much will be dy by dz?
1.
Now if z changes, y will change. So it won't be 0. Okay? 1. Clear?
Yes.
So I have some questions. We'll solve together. Okay?
Yes.
3x plus 2 to the power 5. Y equal to 3x plus 2 to the power 5. Kindly help me in solving this. Okay? Let's solve together. Now I am asking dy by dx.
It's 5 into 3x plus 2 to the power 4.
5 into 3x plus 2. 5 minus 1 is 4.
Into 3.
Yeah, into d by dx of 3x plus 2. Okay? So it will be coming somewhere around 3x plus 2, 4 into 3. Because this will become 0.
Yes.
Differentiation of
2 will be
2
0.
with respect to x is 0.
X.
2 is constant here.
Yes.
Is chain rule getting clear?
Yes, sir.
Now I have another question right here. This one. Y equal to 5x plus 1 to the power half. By x plus 1. It is root over. So let us change it into x to the power n format. Okay. This can be further written as, you can write it like pi x plus 1 to the power half.
Yes.
Now we'll be applying this formula. If x to the power n is there, so dy by dx should be n x to the power n minus 1. So now I have to differentiate this y and this quantity, this whole. So what am I going to write? So dy by dx is equal to, write all the steps in exam. Okay, step markings are there. Pi x plus 1 to the power half minus 1, right? Into d by dx of this much inside. So inside is pi x plus 1. So dy by dx will be 1 by 2. Now this will become how much? We need to just solve it.
Yes.
Pi x plus 1 slowly. This will be half 2. It will be minus 1 by 2, correct? Hmm? Now we have to differentiate this. D by dx of 5x will be, say,
5.
5. And d by dx of 1 will be 0.
Yes.
5 plus 0. This is 1 by 2, right? Now 5x plus 1 to the power minus half. This will be 1 by root over 5x plus 1. Clear?
Yes.
Into 5. Right? So answer is how much? Answer is 5 by 2 into 1 by root over 5x plus 1. This is your answer. Clear? Am I going fast?
No.
Now, fourth question. Suppose they have given y equal to root x. Let us solve together.
1 by 2 root x.
Yes. So first you need to write it in simple format. X to the power half. So dy by dx will be 1 by 2 x to the power 1 by 2 minus 1. Right? Now x is nothing here. D by dx of x. Inside only x is there. Right? Write complete things in exam. If this question comes, don't write dy by dx equal to 1 by 2 root 2. Okay. So this will be 1 by 2 into x to the power. This is nothing but minus half. And this is 1. Now you can write 1 by 2 root x. Clear? Okay. The chain rule is fine so far. This exponential and all we'll see. Now I will go to trigonometric functions. Yeah. Or prior to that, I will. So far, good. Now I will go for trigonometric function. Means we should know what is the differentiation of sin x, cos x, tan x, right?
Yes, sir.
So if y equal to sin x, right? What will be dy by dx?
Cos x.
Cos x. If right? So directly I can write d by dx of d by dx of, I'm just erasing it. So directly I'm just giving you the formulas now. Okay.
Yes.
Sin x equal to cos x. What will be the next quantity?
d by dx of cos x minus sin x.
minus sin x, right? Third one, d
Tan
by,
x.
yeah,
Secant square x.
it is secant square x. Sin cos 10, now cot x. What will be?
Minus cosecant square x.
Yes. So sin cos 10, cot has done sec x.
Uh, cos
Sec x, 10x, right?
not sin x, tan x. Yes, sir.
Very important. People get confused. Okay. Now d by dx of,
Cosecant
yeah, this will be minus
means
same
cosec
formula. Cosecant x into cot x.
okay.
So you will always get confused in this and this. Okay. That's the
Yes.
reason I'm writing. So d by dx of sec x is sec into 10x. Okay. And cosecant is cosec will come and then cot will come. With cosec, sine cannot come. Otherwise, they will get cancelled and one will come. Okay. Sine cos 10 cannot come. Okay. Any doubts on here?
Yes, sir. Sir.
Yeah. Are you comfortable now?
Yes, sir.
Any doubts on?
Yes.
Now we'll go to chain rule for this. Now apply chain rule for this. Suppose I have written y equal to sine x. Okay. So this x is nothing but theta angle. This is angle here, right? So very easily we will be able to write dy by dx will be cos x. Now I am getting this one, right? Y equal to sine x square. How will we do now?
Uh, 2 into cos x.
Yeah. So now just remember this sine, this one is angle. Okay.
Uh,
So treat it as theta. Okay.
okay.
So it will be cos theta. If you're
Uh,
taking this as theta and entire, this is cos theta. So we'll not write theta here. Cos x square, right?
into 2
Into d by dx of
x square. 2
x
x.
square. Now cos x square into d, d by dx of x square is 2x.
2x.
So answer is
2x plus x square.
cos x square. So this is one variety of question, right? Now I'm changing this a little bit. I'm changing it to now y equal to sine square x. Now, how will we do?
Same thing. Sin square x is equal to sin x. Okay.
Yeah. Right? Now it is theta.
Sin x whole square. Okay. I see.
This is angle theta, right? But this is x square. Sine is square, right? Sine is square
Yes.
means what? You can simply write it like sine x square. Can we
Yes, sir.
write?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So inside is sine x. Now I will apply this formula. X to the power n. X to the power n is nx n minus 1. So this will become 2 sine x 2 minus 1 into d by dx of sine x. Clear? 2 sine x into d by dx of sine x is cos x. Right? Now 2 sine x cos x is sine 2x. So we can write here dy by dx equal to this much. Clear or not?
Yes, sir.
Now I'm changing the question now. Okay. So you should be familiar with how to solve each and everything. I'm changing question to y equal to sine square x square. So they will not write like that. Okay. In exam, it will be coming like this. Very important. Now, what is happening? Right? With simple rule, you can't do. So you have to apply some logic here. So this is your angle. Right? This is my angle, theta. Right? So this is nothing but sine square theta. It means I can further write it like this. Right? This can be written as sine x square to the power 2. Can we write it like that?
Yes.
Right? Now, this is y. Right? So dy by dx will be, now this is x. So you can apply this rule, x to power n. So I'm applying x to power n, right? Will be n means 2 sine x square, right? 2 minus 1 into d by dx of sine x square. Until here we can do now. So it is 2 sine x square, 2 minus 1 is 1, right? Into now d by dx of sine x square. How much will come? This is theta now. D by dx of sine x is how much? Cos x. So I'll be able to write it like cos x square, then d by dx. So applying here, right? And then this will also go d by dx of x square. Clear or not?
Yes.
Any doubt? Tell me. I'll explain again.
Yes.
So 2 sine x square into cos x square into 2x. Now final answer will be coming 2 into 2, 4. 4x sine x square cos x square. Right? So this is how we have to build the logic. Let us solve one together. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Y equal to sine 3x. First we'll solve simple one, then we'll go here. Now tell me, son, how to write?
Uh, Sine x the whole cube.
Yeah, so this can be further written as sine x to the power 3.
Yes.
Because angle doesn't have power, sine has power. Okay?
Yes.
Now this
So,
can be, yeah. So dy by dx is equal to, which formula will apply? X to the power n, right?
yes, sir.
Equal to n into xn minus 1. Now just apply here. N is 3.
So,
Tell 3,
sine x the whole square.
3 minus 1, right? Then d by dx
Sine x.
sine x. Now it became easy. 3 sine x square into d by dx of sine x is cos x. You can leave it here only, or you can further do 3 sine square x into cos x. Right? This is your answer. We can also write it like this: 3 into sine x into sine x, right? Into cos x. See, this answer is also correct. Okay. Suppose in exam they have given in some different format, right? So how much it will be done for the simplification? Sin x, just multiply and divide by 2, right? So you can write 2 by 2, right? Into, I'm multiplying and dividing by 2. So that I will be writing it in sin 2x format, right? This is 3 by 2 sin x, right? Now 2 into sin x into cos x is, this I am writing together, the whole quantity. This will be sin 2x. So this is also correct. You can leave here or you can go until here. But now you should know how to do it. Okay. Chain rule able to understand? Fine. Now they have given cos x cube. Y equal to cos x cube. So in exam it will not be given. It will be given in this format. So cos x cube is different than cos cube x. Okay. So I'm writing dy by dx. So this is theta beta. Right? This is theta. So d by dy by dx of cos x is how much?
minus sin x.
Minus sin x. So outside is done, right? But here we have x cube. We will be doing dy by dx of this. Equal to minus sin x 3x square. This will be minus 3x square into sin x. Okay. Eighth, y equal to cos square x. Can you help me in doing this?
This is
So this is theta. Theta is simple x. So now this can be written as cos x with power 2. So if you want to get dy by dx of this, what we have to do? This will be 2 cos x 2 minus 1 into inside. D by dx of inside. Outside is done. Cos x. This is 2 cos x. D by dx of cos x is minus sin x. So minus will come out. Okay, this minus will come out. And then 2 into sin x cos x is sin 2x. Okay? This will become minus sin 2x. Clear? So, so far sin cos we have done and we are comfortable. Okay. There is another formula, right? Y equal to e to power x. So this is important. What will be its dy by dx?
uh, e power x.
E power x. Okay. Now some other variant will come here. Okay. This is formula. Now I am going for a little complex questions. Right? E to the power 3x. Let us solve together. Dy by dx. So suppose this is x. So this can be written in the form of e to power x. Okay. So e to power x, right? What will write? E to power x into d by dx of x. In right? What is x here? X equal to 3x. So basically, I'm taking this, I'm trying to compare this formula and this formula, right? So based on this, what will be dy by dx here?
Um,
E to the power, in place of x, put 3x, no?
yes.
Into simply e to power 3x, then d by dx of 3x. Here also, right, it is happening d by dx of x. On the top, x is there, right? So that's the reason we are getting e to power x here. D by dx of x is nothing but 1. So answer is coming e to power x. So y equal to e power x doesn't mean it is ex only. Right? If you do step by step, you have to do like this. Right? So here it will be e to power 3x into 3 common into d by dx of x. Right? If you have any doubt in these questions, right, you keep on solving it. Answer will come. D by dx of x is 1. So answer is how much? See, you can get it in one step also if you are very comfortable. Clear? Now third, y equal to e to the power. Now last time what you did 3x, right? Here some other quantity will come in place of x, right? Suppose in place of x, x square is coming, right? So what we have to do, like think this is x, right? This is x. Okay. So now dy by dx will be e to the power x square, right? Then I have to find dy by dx of x square, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now only this much you have to figure out. D by dx of x square is 2x, and this is e to the power x square. So answer will be 2x e to the power x square. Any doubt?
No, sir.
Ah, now fourth. How will we solve now? This much. X plus 1 is question visible.
Yes, sir.
Now question is changing. X. Can we solve together? What
Yes, sir.
trick I will apply? So in the power, whatever is there, just simply take it as e to power x. So once you're calculating dy by dx for this, it will be simply e to the power x square plus x, right, into d by dx of x square plus x. Okay. Now this is already simplified. No need of doing this. Okay? We just need to copy. Now d by dx of every term will be going now. Okay? D by dx of x square plus d by dx of x. Okay? And simply this will come e to power x square plus x. This will be e to the power x square plus x, okay, into this into is with e, okay, not in power. D by dx of x square will be 2x plus this is plus d by dx of x is 1. Okay. So our answer is this 2x plus 1 into e to the power x square plus x. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now we'll do some tricky ones. Okay.
Yes, sir.
5. Y equal to e to power x plus 1 whole square. Can you tell? Two ways one. Right? Either you solve this power first, okay, or you take everything as x. So it is better to take everything as x. So this entire thing will be coming as x. Okay. So it will become 8 power x. Right? So dy by dx will be how much? It will be e to the power x plus 1 whole square, right? Into
Yes, sir.
d by dx of x plus 1 whole square, right? Now think slowly, slowly. Okay, here. So no need of solving this. This is already done. Right? Now d by dx of x plus 1, this is in the form of x to the power n. Yep. So this will become 2 into x plus 1, 2 minus 1. So outside I'm solving first. Right? And then into d by dx of x plus 1. Now you can copy this. E to the power x plus 1 whole square. So now this term and this term is solved. We have only have to solve this. So I'm not solving this and this. I'm just going for this. D by dx of x will be, how much will be here? D by dx of x is 1. So inside bracket will be coming how much? 1. D by dx of 1 is 0. And then this term will be copied. E x plus 1 whole square into 2 x plus 1. 2 minus 1 is 1. Right? Into 1. So 1 plus 0 is 1 only. So answer is, this much is answer. Clear?
Yes, sir.
So my answer is 2 into x plus 1 into 8 over 1 minute. Into this term, e to the power x plus 1 whole square. See, question is looking big, but steps and process are same. Okay, do not change your process. So what did we learn so far? We learned y equal to xn, right? Y equal to sin x, y equal to cos x, right? And y equal to 8 power x. These four things we have done, right? Can you just tell me dy by dx for this?
N
N into
x to the
n
power n
minus 1.
minus 1.
So in between, I will revise so that you remember. Okay. Dy by dx
Cos
sin x
x
cos x. And dy by dx of cos x is
minus n.
minus sin x. dy by dx of ex is
E power x.
8 power x. Now, we know how to solve this. We know if x to the power 3 is given, right? So dy by dx will be how much?
3x square.
Yeah, this is in the formula of x to the power n. But sometimes questions comes like this. This is very important. Y equal to, now it is, they are not giving us, now it comes a to power x, where a is a constant. So now we cannot apply that, okay? Because this is not in the form of xn, right? Not in the form of xn. This is constant to the power variable. A variable to the power constant means we can solve using this nx n minus 1. But this is very important question. Note down your notebook. How will we solve it? I know you must be knowing the formula, but we should know how to solve. So, in order to solve this, so don't remember anything. Okay,
Yes, sir.
very important and very, very important. Okay, question is y equal to any constant a to the power x. Now, in this kind of questions, right, take log every side. Okay, take log both the side. You take log both the sides. So if you're taking log this side, this will become log y. This will become log y. And this will become log a to power x. Now we know, right? Log a to power x is how much? X log a. It's x log a. We can write it like this. This is x into log a. Right? So far I have not differentiated. Right? Now you will be writing in exam. You will be writing, right, differentiating y with respect to x. So what will happen? What is the, I have not taught you, dy by dx of log x.
Yes.
This is 1 by x. Okay.
Yes.
So now you are differentiating y with respect to x. So differentiation of d by dx of log y will be 1
1
by
by
y,
y
yeah,
dx by dy by dx.
dy by. Okay. Now this became 1 by y dy by dx. Okay. And what is this? This is in the form of uv, u into v. I know I have not taught you this, but I'll be teaching. Okay.
Yes, sir.
This is in this form, UV form. UV form means uh, d. d by dx of uv will be, you take one term constant, u into, then take, apply this, right? U into dv by dx. This is product rule. Plus, suppose you have taken u first, right? So you have to take v now, right? And differentiate u. Right? Clear?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll apply that here. Now it is x log a. So suppose we are taking this as u and this as v. Right? So take x outside. X into d by dx of log x of log a plus, now this is uv, take v outside, means log a is coming outside, into d by dx of x. Okay. Now this is nothing but, I'm not worried about left hand side, I'm worried about this, x into d by dx of log a. Can log a change with x? No, right? This is constant.
Yes.
So this will become 0. This is constant. Only variable can be differentiated. Now this is log a into d by dx of x. How much will be coming, sir? This one?
1.
1. So now we know 1 by y dy by dx. Right? So dy by dx will be y into log a. Right? And what is y? Y equal to a to power x. Right? Substitute y here. Yeah.
Won't it be y into x plus? Okay, okay. No, no, sir.
Now this became 0.
0, yes.
So log a. So I have told you how to derive. Okay. No need to remember. Don't mug up. Okay.
Yes.
So whenever this comes, right, now we can able to differentiate this. Y equal to x to the power n and y equal to a to the power x or b to the power x, something. This is in the term of variable to the power constant. And this is in the form of constant to the power variable. Right? So here what you will do, you will take log both sides. Right? You will take log both sides. Now we know how, what will be this differentiation. This one is dy by dx for this is n x to power n minus 1, and this much will be dy by dx of a to power x is a to power x and log a. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Very important formulas. Okay. Now let us do some questions from here. Now we can solve, I think, which one? Chain rule, advanced trick. Okay. E to power x square we did. For sin x we can do. I think now we can do everything. Right? Let us do one by one. Okay, we'll solve small questions. It will be easier. Now, suppose y equal to e to power x and sin x is there. All these questions are previous year questions. Okay, it will come. So how will we solve it? This you take in UV form. This is U, this is V. So dy by dx will be U into U is taking out. Okay, dv by dx. Plus we're taking V outside, right? Du by dx. Right? You can take U V any. You can take U as this, V as this, or anything you can take. Okay. So apply. We are applying product rule here. Now tell what will happen. Right. So we will get e to power x first, common. Then differentiation of d by dx of V means sin x. Then V into d by dx of U. Sorry. Then sin x, common. Sin x outside. Then differentiate ex. Can I write it like this? E to power x, d by dx of sin x is cos x plus sin x. E to power x of d by dx of ex is ex. So this is our answer. Or you can also take e to power x common and sin x plus cos x. Clear?
Yes.
Now let us solve together. Y equal to e to power x square into sin x. How will we solve? So you should see what it is, right? This is u, this is v. Hmm? So what is our formula saying? Hmm? Dy by dx in this case will be u into dv by dx plus v into du by dx. Right? So here it will come like this. U is nothing but, so u is coming as outside now. We are not differentiating u here. U will be differentiated here. So e to power x square into d by dx of v sin x plus v. V is nothing but sin x. If you don't follow, please stop me, okay? Sin x and then d by dx of e to power x square. Okay? Now we have to differentiate this. This is e to power x square into sin x, d by dx of sin x is cos x. Then it is sin x d by dx of e to power x square. Treat it as x square as x. So this will become e to the power x square and then differentiate x square. This has become, so I'm not interested here. We have solved until here, right? E to power x square into d by dx of x square is 2x. So this is our answer. Clear, son?
Okay.
Okay. So I'm giving you two questions. You can note it down. Okay. First is y equal to e to power x square into cos x. Right? And second one is y equal to e to power x square into cos x square plus 1. Okay. You have to find dy by dx for these two. Okay. Tomorrow we'll discuss this. So I'll stop the recording here.